Welcome back, everyone, to another Learning Explainer. Today, we are tackling the unsung hero of any good system design, logging. It's that silent guardian that's always working in the background, but when things go sideways, it's pretty much the only thing that can save you. So let's get right into it.
Just imagine this for a second. This is your reality. The alarms are blaring, your team is scrambling, you're basically in a high-stakes digital detective story. And your logs? Well, they're the only real clues you have to solve the mystery. They're the breadcrumb trail that's going to lead you from total chaos to a solution.
So where does this trail of clues even begin? Well, even in the absolute simplest system you can dream up, we have to start with two fundamental types of logs. Think of these as our first and most critical pieces of evidence.
On one hand, you've got your application logs. The best way to think about these is like the application's personal diary. It's telling you the story from the code's point of view, what business logic is running, what weird errors it's hitting. Then on the other hand, you have system logs. These are more like the machine's health report. They tell you what's up from the hardware's perspective. Is the CPU getting maxed out? Are we running out of memory? You absolutely need both of these stories to understand what's really going on.
Okay, fast forward a bit. Our simple system is a huge success. We've got users, we've got traffic, and now we've got a whole new set of questions. Who's actually accessing our system? What are they trying to do? And are they even allowed to do it? This calls for a whole new layer of logging.
So let's meet your system's digital bouncer, access logging. Every single request that even thinks about knocking on your system's door gets recorded right here. Your load balancers, your API gateways, they're all keeping a super detailed list, the IP address, the URL they wanted, and whether they got a welcome in or a access denied. This stuff is absolutely indispensable for seeing traffic patterns and spotting any weird activity.
But what about the really critical actions happening inside your system? For those, you need something much more serious: audit logging. Look, this isn't just a casual record. We're talking about a tamper-proof, high-security log that is absolutely essential for compliance and security. Without it, you can't answer those crucial questions like, hey, who gave this user admin rights? Or which employee just looked at this customer's private data? Its immutability is the whole point. It has to be trustworthy.
So our system, of course, just keeps on growing. We've gone from one big application to dozens, maybe even hundreds of tiny microservices. Now this is awesome for scalability, don't get me wrong, but it creates a massive new headache for our detective work. Welcome to the microservices maze.
Just think about it for a second. A single click from a user might set off this chain reaction across 10 different services. If something breaks in, say, service number 7, how on earth do you even know it was part of that specific user's request? The traditional logs we've talked about so far, they're just not going to connect those dots for you.
And that is the exact problem that distributed tracing was invented to solve. It's the magic that connects all those scattered dots. When a request first enters your system, it gets a unique ID, a trace ID. It's like a passport. And as that request travels from one service to another, that passport gets stamped, creating a complete map of its entire journey. You'll see tools like OpenTelemetry and Jaeger as the big players here, helping you create and visualize these traces.
But okay, so tracing is awesome, but it doesn't solve everything. We've just created a different kind of problem. We now have hundreds of log files on hundreds of different servers. So trying to find one specific error means you have to log into machine after machine. I mean, it is the literal definition of finding a needle in a haystack.
So what's the solution? You guessed it, bring all the hay to one place so you can use a giant magnet. That's centralized logging. The whole idea is simple. Just collect all of your logs in one single spot. This makes them searchable and way easier to analyze. You'll hear people talk about the ELK stack all the time. That's Elasticsearch for searching, Logstash for collecting, and Kibana for visualizing. The EFK stack is another popular one that just swaps in Fluent.
All right, we've got our foundation in place. We're collecting logs, we're centralizing them. Now let's talk about some specialized tools. Think of these like getting a pair of X-ray glasses that let you zoom in on very specific kinds of problems, and fast.
First up, let's look through the lens of error logging. These are your system's first responders, the paramedics on the scene. Tools like Sentry are designed specifically to catch errors the second they happen, group them together intelligently, and give you every little detail you need to fix them, and fix them quickly.
Next, let's zoom out a bit with performance and metrics logging. This isn't about one specific error. It's about the overall health of your system. Think of it like the vitals monitor in a hospital. Tools like Prometheus are constantly collecting metrics, response times, error rates,
And then tools like Grafana let you visualize all of it on beautiful dashboards so you can spot problems before they become catastrophes.
And of course, every system needs a good guard dog, right? That's where security logging comes in. It's focused exclusively on potential threats. It's watching for stuff like failed login attempts, weird activity from unknown IPs, and more. This data usually gets piped into what's called a SIEM, which is basically a command center for security analysts to hunt for threats.
And last but definitely not least, we've got event logging. Now this one's a little different from the others. It's not about the health of your code or your servers. It's about the health of your business. This log is the business storyteller. It captures key business moments like order created or payment processed, often in a stream processing platform like Kafka. This log becomes the undeniable source of truth for what's happening in your business.
Phew, okay, that's a lot of different pieces, right? So how does this all actually fit together in a real-world production scale system? Let's take a look at the blueprint.
This table really brings it all together. You can follow the path for each type of log. So your application logs get picked up by an agent like Fluentd and shipped off to Elasticsearch and Kibana for searching and visualizing. Your performance metrics get scraped by Prometheus and turned into graphs in Grafana. Your distributed traces from OpenTelemetry go to Jaeger for analysis. And those supercritical audit logs, they get securely archived somewhere safe, like CloudTrail. You see the pattern here? Each type of data has its own specialized pipeline, perfectly designed for its specific purpose. Now let's wrap up with some best practices that are absolute gold for any system design interview. Pay attention to these. First, use structured logging, like JSON. Why? Because machines can read it without getting a headache, which makes everything easier. Second, correlation IDs are non-negotiable for tracing requests. Third, and this is a big one, never, ever, ever log sensitive user data. It's a massive security risk. Just don't. Fourth, have clear log rotation and retention policies. You don't want to fill up your disks. And fifth, use different log levels. You want super detailed logs in development, but you probably want to quiet things down in production. And that brings us to the big idea I want to leave you with. Really effective logging isn't just about figuring out what went wrong yesterday. When you do it right, are your logs just a dusty old record of the past? Or are they actually a map that can help you predict failures, understand your users, and build a more resilient, more intelligent system for tomorrow?
And that's a wrap on our deep dive into logging. We've covered a ton of ground from the absolute basics all the way to production scale systems. I'm really curious, what are your go-to logging tools? Are you an ELK stack purist or are you using something newer? Drop a comment below and let us know. And hey, if you found this useful, hitting that subscribe button is the best way to make sure you don't miss the next one. Thanks for watching.